Welcome to Wrap It Up Sports Medicine and More, the podcast that gives you a viewpoint on sports medicine that can't be found anywhere else. I'm your host, Eli Hallak, and we have a fantastic show ahead of us today. So let's get started. Welcome to Wrap It Up Sports Medicine and More. Today, we have Krystal Forbes and Bianca Mejia. We will be talking about the wonderful world of softball, coaching both at the high school and college level, a little pro sports, and what life is like as a former professional athlete. We'd like to introduce Bianca and Krystal. How are you guys doing today?
Good, thank you. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you.
Nice to have you guys. Thanks. I know we've been working on this for a few months. Our co-host today, we've pulled out from behind the screen for the first time in a while. We'd like to welcome our producer, Gabriel Hallak. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing really well, and it's more behind the microphone, but I get you. Yeah, happy to be here.
Screen, microphone, it all works.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Krystal, if you could take a quick minute, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, well, I was going to think about how far back you want to go, but let's keep it simple for now, I guess. I currently work for an independent studies school out here in Canyon Country. I played softball, I feel like my whole life, all the way up through college, and then coached a bit. I coached a high school team for maybe like a year or two, and then switched over to working at Puck, which is another charter school out here in the Valley. And that's pretty much it. I'm a mom of three out here in the Valley, just, surviving.
Sweating up a storm, right? In the Valley.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. And Bianca, what about a little bit about you?
Well, I grew up with Krystal, so we're both from the Valley. I played Division I softball, was an All-American at Long Island University in Brooklyn. Then I ended up playing professionally in the NPF, the National Pro Fast Pitch League, which is no longer in existence. And then from there, I ended up coaching at it ends up being three different universities. So Bryant University, Dartmouth College, and I'm currently at Loyola Marymount University.
All really good schools. I've had students go to all three. Now, I can honestly say episodes like this are kind of fun because I learn. I had no idea, and I'll be honest, there was a National Professional Softball League. I had no idea until I was reading your bio.
Yeah, no, that's okay. A lot of people actually don't. So I would say the marketing for it was probably not as highly regarded as, let's say, the WNBA is now. But we are growing. I know there's a pro league called Athletes Unlimited, which is doing a much better job than back in my day when I played. So that's all good and great. And for the sport, it's phenomenal.
And first off, we got to give a shout out to a small city known as Sylmar, California, where it turns out all four of us are from.
Mm-hmm.
We all four played some type of ball, baseball or softball in your case, at Sylmar Independent Baseball League. I read that and I was like, oh my God, flashbacks. Nightmares for my brother, for sure. A few nightmares. Yeah, some great memories of licorice for 25 cents, the 3-foot long licorice, and playing baseball from the age of like 5 till 18. Now, where did you guys play? Were you at the older stadium or the new one that was kind of moved and created by the
before Mission
military?
College?
Yeah,
before Mission College or after Mission College?
Well, no, Mission College, where the gym is now, that wasn't there before. Like, you drove past that and it was nothing but, I guess, hillside or whatever.
Yep.
Dirt, and then you go through the little, windy road thing or whatever. And it was just the baseball fields first and then the softball fields.
So you played in the newer area, which I remember them building that. So kind of nice to meet a couple civil survivors and or alum, I guess, a better way to put it. When you guys were playing softball back in the day, let's be honest, women's softball, oh my God, talk about insanity. The passion behind it, the time, the amount of time. My sister played at Civil too, and she spent more time on that diamond than we ever did in baseball. It is a commitment. Krystal, can you talk about that, growing up, that commitment, that passion in female softball and what it was like?
Sybil in the beginning, for us, it was a rec ball league, which it was competitive. I used to have some really good ball players come out of the Valley, particularly that played at Sybil, right? But it wasn't until I got into travel ball where you saw
Oh
the
yeah.
level move up. When you talk about the level of commitment and the time spent on the field, I didn't fully understand what that looked like until I played travel ball. And then it was every weekend, every weekend practice. If we weren't practicing, we were playing a tournament, double headers, sometimes triple headers, just kind of
I was
depended
going
on
to
the
say, what
tournament.
about the triple header? I remember those.
Yeah. And, I feel like kids in those days that were our age were just scrappy, man. And, you fell in love with the sport. And when you fell in love with it, you had the passion, you had the willingness to go through, the long hours. But I mean, our parents too. I talked to my mom and my dad, and like my mom says she would do it all over again. It's insane because they put in a lot of hours too, with the driving and sitting
Oh
and
yes.
watching you play and whatnot. But for kids in the Valley, you didn't have a whole heap of options when it came to travel ball. You had a few, right? We played for a club team that was out of the Valley, but we had to go to tournaments out in Orange County, a lot of tournaments in Orange County.
Oh yes, I
So,
remember those.
you
What
know,
what team did you guys play for?
oh, Valley Breeze. Gosh, that was way back
I
when.
remember those. My sister played for, was it Shiloh?
Angela
Oh
Shiloh?
played for
yeah.
Shiloh.
Yeah.
Angela was on
Wow.
Shiloh. Hey,
Oh,
Krystal,
Wow. Yeah.
how old were you? And Bianca, I'll get to you in a minute.
No worries.
I got you. Krystal, how old were you when you started playing travel ball? You did play Sybil, you said that,
hmm
but it wasn't that
hmm
intense. And then you kind of made the pivot to
Travel
travel
ball.
ball.
Yeah. Well, we were approached by one of my former teammates that would also play with the, I would play alongside on the same travel team where her dad was a coach at Sybil. And he said, I see something, why don't you come out and try out? You have a great time, it's competitive, all this stuff. And so my mom goes, okay, I don't know nothing about it, but why not? I must have been,
That's what they call in fishing sinking the hook right there.
well,
That's yeah,
absolutely,
definitely.
absolutely. I'm glad it happened too. I was maybe 12 going on 13. Uh-huh. And then, got onto Valley Breeze and played a few tournaments and fell in love with it.
And how about you, Bianca?
Well, I was a little bit different than Krystal, only because I was stuck in between two boys. So the order of our
That's true.
siblings,
That's
the
true.
order of our siblings goes girl, boy, girl, boy. So I
Mhm.
got stuck between two boys. So I took the
You two are
baseball
so
route
lucky
first.
to have
Yeah.
brothers in your life. Oh,
Yep, yep.
Oh
Totally.
yeah.
it's
Oh
a
Yes,
yeah.
blessing.
totally.
Absolutely.
Total blessing.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah. So I think, I don't know. I was around the same age. I played baseball at Sybil up until from 4 all the way till I believe 12. And then same situation, I ended up going to the Valley Breeze where Krystal was, just in a different age group, 12, 13 maybe. That's where it all started.
That's where your life ended and softball began.
That was life.
Pretty
That
much.
was
Yes,
life.
Yep.
that
That
was
was
life.
life.
I mean,
It
at
was
that
always,
point,
I can't. Yep. It was always, I can't. I have softball.
yep, yep.
You
Well,
know?
I remember, and Gabe remembers this too. I had to get my license when I was 16. And one of the reasons, my mom was about to have surgery. My sister had softball tournaments. And if
hmm
she was going to play while my dad worked, I had to be the taxi cab.
He was a
So,
gopher.
yep. And I remember driving my first, I think it was my second weekend. So my first big trip all the way to Ventura to drive her to a
Oh,
softball tournament.
yep.
And it is a nonstop for you guys.
Yes.
It really
Yes.
is.
Well, you're a
Absolutely.
good brother, man. You're a good
Yeah.
brother.
Hey, let's keep that comment in the episode, okay? You're
I'm
not
gonna
allowed
cut
to
that.
edit
I'm
that.
gonna
No,
cut
that's
that out.
staying. That's staying.
That's
I'm
gone.
just pointing that out right now.
It's got
Um,
it's
So what are some of your favorite memories growing up? And you know what? I think I forgot to mention, although you already have, that you are sisters as well. So,
Yeah.
which makes it even more fun that at some point you probably got to play with each other. on the field, on the diamond?
Actually, yes, and it came. Gosh, I was in a tournament
I gotta say,
somewhere in Orange
Crystal, the
County.
glow in your face when you started telling that.
Oh
That is
Because
yeah.
just,
it's
oh my
because I thought
God.
it was so awesome,
Right
and
It
on.
was
you know,
fun.
a testament to her and her abilities because she was little. Gosh, Bianca, you were like 13, 12, 13. No,
No,
you were
I think
you
it
were
was
little.
11. I
Yeah,
think I was
you
11.
were. She was little, and not just in age, but in stature too.
Stature.
She wasn't the tallest
Stature.
person, but we were down players. We were short players, and we needed a player. And so Bianca suited up. Let me tell you, and she played her heart out and kicked butt. Did better than I would imagine half of us on that
She
team that
balled, huh?
tournament.
She came out and just balled.
Absolutely,
I
Uh-huh.
remember
absolutely, just
feeling
killed it.
so terrible. I felt so terrible. Let me tell you why. Because there's a 5-year age difference between Krystal and I.
Yes.
So I was
Yes.
about 11, maybe 12, and Krystal was what, 16, 17 at that time. So
About
she was playing on an 18 and under
18
team,
and under.
and I went in.
Absolutely.
I went in and
killed
I
it.
ended up getting a couple hits, and
Nice.
man, the coach ripped him a new one.
Yes, but
I felt so
it wasn't
terrible.
even like it was just a couple of hits. They were like rockets. And I'm sitting here like, man, you know what? She showed out.
And that
showed out,
pitcher's
she
going,
killed it.
oh damn, I'm gonna hear about this when
I
I get to
don't know
dugout.
if they told that. I hope they didn't tell that picture because I mean,
That is
to be
awesome.
upstaged by an 11-year-old at the age of 17, 18 years old.
That is so awesome.
I'm
Good
sure
for
they
you,
kind of
Bianca.
figured it
But-
out. I like that. I like that a lot.
But it was absolutely just what was to come. The tip of the iceberg, if you will, for what was in store for Bianca, I feel like, moving forward.
Man,
you
that
know?
was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
What was it like coaching her?
Okay, when I found out that she was coming, I could not be happier. Because not just she's amazing, outstanding, all of the above. I can't even
And
I can't
Bianca, we're
even
gonna
go
make sure to
through.
keep this in the episode so you have
Yeah,
proof.
yeah.
Okay?
I like you send
You
me a copy of
absolutely-
this.
I got you
I'll
covered.
I'll cut the
absolutely
sound clip
should.
out and you can make it into a ringtone.
There you
There
go.
you go.
Yes.
I absolutely condone this behavior. I was beyond happy, right? Because she would obviously bring something that at the time LIU didn't have. She was a force to be reckoned with. Kids that had played against her, alongside her, were at some point or another like terrified of her. So just that alone was fun to think about, like, oh, she's gonna complain. But I think what really did it for me, what really made my heart so happy is that I would get to see her flourish live and in person, like with the front row seat. And I don't know too many siblings that get to say that, to watch someone who would uplift the sport as much as she did at such a small school. It was a small private school. It's a mid-major, right? But when I got recruited to LIU, I didn't know what LIU was. Heck, at the time, my coach let us know one time, like him and one of the other assistants went to go to recruit. And they, at the time the colors were black and silver. So there are these two male coaches with black shirts, and so it says LIU on it. And a parent comes up to them and says, hey, can I ask you something? What does LIU stand for? Where, what school is this? And they said Louisiana Institute of Undertaking. And when I tell you that parent's jaw just dropped, right? And so they like to tell that story and they think it's funny. But all that to say, it wasn't a very well-known school at the time.
Undertaking?
Undertaking. But that's not what totally joking.
I know. It's just I just love that. I love that.
Yes, it was great.
That's something I would say. So I love it.
So when she put the school on the map alongside with some of the other girls on the team, obviously, right, brought their abilities to the game. She was a player, I would say, even still as a coach, was someone who made others play better. It's a better version athletically, man. You play alongside her, you see her demeanor, you saw her passion for the sport, and just it was something that you could feed off of in such a great way. And it was notable. It was so notable, the difference that I saw from before her arrival to LIU to her career. throughout, her 4 years, her years there. Like it was night and day, So to me, I had the most amazing time watching her go through her college softball career.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I
Really
paid her a
nice that
lot
you
to
have
say
that.
that.
I would hope so.
Money well spent.
We'll just have to see if the check cashes, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
oh yeah.
You said she's just ferocious and mean, and people were scared of her. I'm looking at her picture. She just looks like a typical softball player,
Well, let me tell you, it would. Okay, so B, if it's okay, can I about your mask?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so Bianca at the time wore a mask, a face mask, right? It was clear face mask, I think, or I can't remember. It was one of the first prototypes of
Uh-huh.
the face mask for softball,
Okay.
and she would wear it for protection. I guess that made her a little bit more intimidating, and so she played shortstop. Anytime a runner would get on first, they would make it to second, and then they would just like, oh my gosh, I hope I don't piss this kid off. She wants to get a girl. I feel like Bianca, was it a girl was like leading off like big, like had a big lead or something, and then you started talking to yourself.
Oh yeah.
If you don't, I can't talk to you right now. You
The
know what?
voices,
I
the
told
voices,
you, yeah.
they're back.
I told
Oh
you
my
I can't
God.
talk to you right now. All this and that. And the kid, just the look on this kid's face, like, oh gosh, what am I getting myself into?
I love
So
it. I love it.
she kept that kid at bay, And I told a parent in the same breath, I feel like I told a parent in that same game, she goes, why does she wear the mask? And I said, oh, she bites. And the parent looks at me and I'm like, well, of course she doesn't bite, but ask silly questions, you're gonna get silly answers.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, we've had some moments, silly
That,
moments.
that sounds like so much fun though, to be able to share that with your sibling and watch
Yeah.
each other grow in a sport that you both love. Now,
Yeah.
now Bianca, you've been a little quiet, which is apparently not like you, according to Sis. And
That's correct.
that is correct. I love it. Now, you had a pretty darn good career just looking at some of your stats. What was your favorite part of playing college softball?
So it's crazy because I started off my career at Michigan State and I ended up transferring. My love for the game just wasn't there. I didn't feel right holding at that time, money to me was scholarship. Like I was on a full scholarship.
Totally. Yeah, I
didn't
remember
feel
those
right
days.
to the coach. Like I'm holding up a spot and this is just not my place. Like I don't feel at home here. So when I ended up transferring and I ended up going to LIU, it was a home away from home, which is something that's very difficult for someone like me or Krystal because we grew up a very tight knit family, aunts, uncles, always around, we're always around our parents. It's just, it's a scary place. I mean, you're going to leave what? I don't even know how many miles, 1,000 miles away and leave your family. So I always wanted to make sure I was at home. And I think my favorite part about my college career was landing at Long Island University, playing for the coaches I played for, Krystal included. And then the teammates, man, those women on that team, it was just like, there was no individuality. It was all team based and we played like it. Off the field, we were like a bond of sisters, which was my absolute favorite thing of my college career.
And that just makes a whole experience of a team and everybody connects. And in case you're wondering, it's 2,779 miles from Sylmar, California.
Oh, yeah.
To
Well,
That's a
Long
lot of
Island
miles.
University.
That's a lot of miles. There you go.
Just a
It's a
couple.
lot
Just
of
a
miles.
couple. Well, it says you can drive it in 41 hours straight if you're good. Or
Oh, I've done it in about 4 days, but I don't recommend it.
Oh, it sounds like a pain.
Absolutely.
My back's sore just thinking about it. But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it's just finding your home, finding your place, and finding that passion in that location. I totally get it.
And the people.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
That
That
makes
makes a
it.
massive difference. Makes a massive difference, I feel like.
Now, who made, outside of the team, of course, who made your experience positive there? I presume it was some of the coaches, some of the other staff.
Well, 100%. Krystal was on staff at that point. So I obviously was.
Wow, you just getting props today, Krystal. Oh my God, this is just
It's all
awesome.
you, Forbes.
I'll
Well,
take it.
here's the thing. Like being the younger sibling, it is nerve-wracking going to another new place without anybody you know. Now going into a place where you have your sibling there, one you looked up to your whole life and you were comfortable. That's like my second mother at that time, you know. So it was very comforting for me, and to be able to go and play for Krystal and Coach Roy and Bill and Jessica Sweeney, or what was her DePippo is
DePippo.
her maiden name. Those
Yes.
people, they actually, not actually, let me tell you something about those people. Their word is their bond. It's just how we grew up. My dad used to tell us, your word's your bond,
Yep.
it's all you have. And those
That's it.
men and women held true to that and some, which is something that is very rare to find nowadays.
Very
Well,
rare nowadays,
it's,
totally.
yeah, almost non-existent. So I think for me to find, that was my comfort, and it was like growing up and not being away from home. You were home. So that was something that was truly special.
Now you're flipping it and you're coaching now. So you have to be that person that drives that bond and helps nurture it and get the team together and bring those kids that are no longer kids away from their home and comfortable. What do you do to try and facilitate that type of feel for your athletes now?
So I think if you are just real and you be your genuine self, you are going to provide the comfort, the stability, and just someone who always shows up and can count on. And if you can do that with young women, especially going away from home, you know, that's setting up your whole and their whole career to be something they could never imagine.
And I see
So I'm
Krystal nodding and completely agreeing with you on that.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. You
Yeah,
know,
so
like she said before,
it's
like
hard.
if you go into a culture where you don't have that cohesiveness, or you don't have someone who's being real with you, let me tell you something. Kids, teenagers, they can smell the fakeness in you a mile away.
100%.
And
It takes not even a heartbeat. They figure it out.
right.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
clever.
So if you have the ability to show them who you are, who your true colors are, and that you're there for them, and they feel that, they'll be more than willing to listen to you. I mean, some will have a little harder time than others, but eventually they'll say, you know what, this person's real, and I respect that, and I wanna do good, I wanna get better, and this person's gonna help me get there.
And at the end of the day, as coaches, I felt like my coaches cared for me as far as a person and a player, but more importantly, a person. And if I can give that to my athletes nowadays, my student athletes, then I've done my job about 50%. The other 50% is, making sure that you hold them accountable, that you're 100% honest with them 100% of the time. There can't be any BS, because like you guys said, those kids can smell it a mile away.
Oh, it's like blood in the water around great white. Yeah. And it literally, that's a good way to put it. I've seen fangs come out and they're ready for you. Yeah. I think my brother was one of them.
Still am.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Got to keep you on your toes, he said.
Oh,
That's
he's
right.
good at that. Always has been.
Mm-hmm.
Elevate your knowledge, ignite your curiosity, and compete with the best minds at events hosted by the American Academic Competition Institute. AACI's sports medicine competitions feature practical exercises, challenging quizzes, specialty tests, and keynote speakers that foster knowledge and social engagement in healthcare and sports medicine. Go to aacitest.org for more information on upcoming regional and national competitions. Sign up for the ultimate intellectual showdown.
Krystal, going to coaching, coming from the perspective of a coach and putting those aspects into play. You're a parent, you're in education, you're surrounded by youth. Coaching's about making connections. Coaches are educators. How are you able to make that transition from a coach to an educator and a parent?
I had a lot of help, tons of help. Takes a village in parenting, takes a village coaching. adulting, just trying to,
I'm still working on that.
Adulting, what's that?
ugh, I don't recommend it.
Yeah,
I
I'll
give it
stay
one
away
star.
from it. Thank you.
I pull a lot from the role models, I think, that came through my life. Our parents mainly always, made sure that we were upstanding citizens, just how do I they were always so positive with us, taught us the right thing to do, be kind, be respectful, just taking into consideration how you would want your kids to be treated. I feel like in those situations, whether it be on the field or in the classroom or wherever, right? Coaches at LIU taught us things, I would say some of my friends now that are parents and coaches, I have a few friends that are out in Maryland that were head softball coaches that are now, or other ones that are coaching track and field, and they have their kids in track and field. And so I pick up little gems from them here and there. But I think going from coaching into education, I was able to take a lot of what I learned in coaching and apply it. Not all kids learn the same. So you kind of have to figure out what their language is, how they communicate. You can't talk to people the way you understand. You have to talk to them, communicate with them the way they would understand. And that can be tricky sometimes for people. But I feel like I did a decent enough job learning that in coaching to where I could apply it now in my job at the school I'm at now, which I'm very grateful for.
It's always nice to be able to take what you've learned in your past and bring it to your current situation, especially when it transitions so easily. Athletics, coaching, it's all the same thing. You're learning, you're teaching, whether that's on the field or in the classroom or when you're educating other professionals. It's just something you constantly are working at. And it just seems like you really got it and just flowed right through. Bianca, you have several years of experience, and I'm going to presume at some point you had an owie or two. What kind of injuries do you see most often at the softball setting?
Well, just recently with what I've seen recently is you have knee problems, ACL tears, labrum tears, arm problems, elbow problems, concussions, and that's just set apart from your average bumps and bruises, which I see a lot of those too.
Yeah, well, sliding kind of hurts sometimes, right?
It shouldn't if you do it right, but yes, it does hurt sometimes.
I don't know. I remember playing at Civil. It hurt all the time because of all those rocks on the field, but that's a different
Yeah.
story.
That's
That didn't
100%
help.
a different story. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Clay would have been nice.
if you were able to slide on that field, you could slide anywhere.
Oh yeah, no. When you hit clay, it was like, oh my God, it's a pillow. There are no rocks. What do we do?
Yeah.
Were you fortunate over your career? Did you make it pretty healthy, or did you have anything that little bumps and bruises, or did you have anything major that happened?
I had a lot of bumps and bruises, had a few concussions, 2 ACL tears, and then pulled hamstrings, popped hamstrings.
So you got to know the medical staff pretty well after a while, huh?
Oh, we were best friends.
Oh,
yeah.
It's always funny when athletic trainers and the sports medics are on speed dial, right?
Oh man, I know they got tired of me. Oh, and I also threw my back out when I did that. When that poor woman, my athletic trainer, I give it up to her because it was like every single day, and she was so tired of hearing.
Who was that? Who was that?
I don't.
At the time?
I don't remember. I don't
Oh,
remember her
man.
name. I feel terrible, but I know I called her phone every single day, sometimes 3 times a day.
Well, we'll have to give
And
a nod.
yeah,
We'll have to give a nod
they-
to her,
Yeah.
whoever
Oh,
she
yeah.
is. And was that at LIU?
No, that was professionally.
Oh, that was pro. Okay.
Yeah.
When the ACLs happened, did that happen at the college level, the pro level, the high school level?
The college level, both of them.
Man. Oh, left and then right, or just the same thing on
It
one
was
side?
the same knee. Yeah, the
Oof.
same knee.
Very common. Now, Krystal, what about you? Did you stay away from the injury bug, or did it bite you too?
Oh, it bit me, but I was fortunate that it was just one time, and it was my a shoulder. I had a labral tear. I actually had a what do they call a slap lesion?
Slap lesion, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
Did you have to have
Hmm.
surgery as well?
I did. It was, I believe, the year after my, or the summer after my junior year, I want to say. Hmm. That happened. We were fortunate enough to have time. The team physician was Dr. Levy, and he was outstanding. He
That
got
makes
us
a
back on
huge
the field.
difference. That makes a huge
Yeah,
difference. Lots of rehab
it
in the
does.
training room, I presume.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
and also made friends with those folks too. They were my best friends as well.
Bianca,
If
oh
anybody,
yeah.
you get to know them very well, and they're
Yeah.
amazing people, super important in the sports world. How we went through high school without an athletic trainer out here in the valley, I have no idea.
I noticed you guys, obviously we've talked about it over and over, Valley, Valley. We all grew up in the San Fernando Valley. For those of you,
Mhm.
all two listeners that we have, one's my dad, one's my sister. They know where it is. But for that third person that might jump on, San Fernando Valley is just north of Los Angeles by about 15-20 minutes. It is a small metropolitan area of approximately, I think it's 4 million people in kind of a valley-esque bowl, really
Mhm.
well known for cars,
Yeah,
smog, and athletics. That's what we're known for, athletics.
there you go.
With that in mind, that's all you do at the high school level. If I realize you guys went to LA City School, what school did you guys go to?
I went to Silmar.
All
And I went to
right.
El Camino and Silmar.
Well, you couldn't choose, so you jumped
Yeah,
ship,
yeah.
or
I,
what
I had
happened?
to hit them. You know what? The Valley was lucky I didn't touch all the high schools.
There you go.
Ah, I love that. I love that. Silmar was my public school of choice. So
Yeah,
we were on the border of Silmar, San Fernando growing up, so that was the school we were supposed to go to. Silmar, been there many times, great school, but yeah, they only had an athletic trainer, and I know this for a fact, that took care of the football team. Um,
yes,
because when
they
I
did.
graduated college, I actually did a little stint working at my home field at
Did you
Silmar,
really?
helping out on Friday
Nice.
nights just for football. It was the
Wow.
weirdest thing going back to a school that I was supposed to go to, but ended up not. And still knowing the facility and everything around it. But you're right,
Yeah,
back then, even to this day, they don't have athletic trainers at Silmar High School,
they
um,
don't. Yeah.
which
And
is really sad.
I didn't hear about high schools having athletic training until I went to school out in New York and got to know some of the trainers, and like they have to do hours and lab hours and whatever
Oh,
else,
yes.
clinical hours in different settings, and one of the settings was high school, and I remember going, oh my gosh, we didn't have that. Like, is that just a New York thing, or just were we just not in that world? Like, it was bizarre to me.
Well,
It was an
unfortunately, when it
odd
comes to
thing.
medicine, California is a little behind the times when it comes
Mm,
to several healthcare issues, including athletic training. Even now,
hmm.
it's really bad. I think we're at 40, is it 41% of high school students have access to an athletic trainer. That doesn't mean they're on
Wow.
site. That just means they have
No, yeah.
access maybe a
Right.
couple times a week. And think of
Right.
all those things you went through. If you didn't have your medical staff to help you out,
That
your
would have been
care,
gnarly.
oh my
Yep.
God, I couldn't
That would have been
imagine.
gnarly. I
I
wouldn't
mean,
want to imagine.
yeah, totally,
So
totally.
I feel for a lot of the kids nowadays. Well, I know at least when I started, was it back in 2007 as a coach with LIU, I remember seeing an influx of injuries, surgery injuries starting to happen. And I just thought how odd, because I don't remember playing as a teenager in travel ball seeing that many injuries. So it was interesting to see how many the influx of them.
We're seeing more and more at the high school level, like you said, because they're
Yeah.
playing 2, 3 teams year round,
Mhm.
nonstop. and same motion. So you're getting repetitive injuries
Yeah.
over and over. And it's sad. You're seeing injuries
That's
in
rough.
these teenagers that they really shouldn't have until they're older, like
Older.
me. Yeah.
Much older.
Much
But
older.
if you think about it though too, there's not a whole lot of coaches that really know how to take care of those injuries, or even prehab, like the prehab, rehab.
Yeah.
A lot of them just don't know. A lot of them are people that are just from the community that are there to help coach the team and get them to where they got to go, and don't have training in first aid.
Yeah.
A lot of them
totally.
are volunteers.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
a
No,
lot of
that's
them
very
are.
true. That's very true. Bianca, going back to you with that ACL injury, how did it happen?
So I was with the junior national team practicing in Chula Vista. We were training. I don't know if they just watered the field in the morning for our morning session, or it had rained the night before, but it was wet. It was dewy. It was dirty. Not mud-like, but
Just a little
very
sticky.
compact.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
compact. So there was a ball in the 5-6 hole, and I went to go get it. And I went to turn the double play. Well, the bottom half of my leg stayed up with my cleat. The top half came over, and then I just heard and felt a pop and a snap, and oh gosh, I was down. I was down.
And we heard that scream. So we went to that, right? Because she's young, she can't drive herself. So I went with my parents to drop her off and whatever else. And we're sitting out beyond the field, you know, and I just remember, like, I'm sitting there watching her, and you hear like a yell, and I'm going, oh, it was the most excruciating, painful scream that I think up until then I'd ever heard in my life. And like, my heart immediately dropped, because I'm going, oh no, you know. And then my parents obviously are like concerned and freaking out. I mean, it hurt me, you know. Shoot, that didn't even happen to me. It hurt me.
When you hear that tear, especially somebody you know, and you hear that scream, you know it's bad. And
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
you just pause and hope that it's not.
Hmm.
Bianca, in that moment, what were you thinking?
Honestly, I thought I broke my femur. I was like, "There's no way." Then my bones are sticking out of my skin, because I didn't look down. I had my eyes closed, and I was just holding my leg, and it was really painful. So I was like, "Oh, I never
Wow.
felt pain like that." So I thought I broke my leg, but I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm done. Like, I'm done. There's no way I'm gonna be able to play anymore." But then after a couple hours, it just like my knee got fat, and it was very swollen. So I was like, "Oh, okay, it's not that bad. No bones are broken." Like, they told
Yeah,
me to
that's not
squat and
good.
do all that. No, I wasn't able to do any of it. I'll do what I have to do, whatever exercises I have to do to get back out on the field. And then after some X-rays and MRIs, figured out that it was a torn ACL and lateral meniscus. I don't even know what else. But when I heard that, they told me I would have to redshirt my freshman year of college. So I was bummed. I was really
Yeah.
bummed.
That
Now,
hurts. That hurts.
was that before or after you played for the USA junior national team?
That was during. So that was
Oh,
in January. Yeah. So it was like in our
Hmm.
training camp. That's when I did it. And then I rehabbed, and I had surgery, rehab, and I got back very quickly. And I didn't recommend this, but it was about 4 or 5 months where I was already doing like softball activity with a brace, running, and I ended up playing a lot. I came back a lot earlier than I should have.
woo.
And then
Yep.
Which would explain
well,
why it happened
well,
again.
yeah. But I was just focused on, like, I got to get back out there. There's no way. I don't want to sit out a year. I don't want to do this. But thankfully they made me sit out the year. I was just doing everything I could to get back on the field.
Hmm.
You know, you say that, and I hear that as an athletic trainer, sports medic. I just want to get back. I just want to get back. I just want to get back. All I want to do is get back. I want to represent the country at the Pan American qualifiers. I want to play at the tournament for Team USA. And what did you hit? 535?
I
Damn,
don't
bro.
remember, but
I'm looking at it
I'm
right
all
now.
right
That's
with
pretty good.
that.
Yeah, you'll take it, right?
I'm good. I like
Yeah,
that stat. Go ahead, run that one.
yeah. We'll keep that on the show just to be safe on the episode. It comes down to having the right people around you, like you said, that kind of held the reins, kind of kept you in check, and held you back long enough so you
Right.
could really be successful.
Right.
And it's having those right people. And nowadays, it's so hard to find the combination of coaching, medical staff, and colleagues that'll take care of these kids, that it gets more difficult and difficult.
Mhm.
Now, what about you, Krystal? When you tore that labrum, what was the situation for you?
We were playing. I want to say it was like an exhibition game. It wasn't like one of the regular season games. And I remember, I think there was a slap reps, and I'm playing shortstop at the time, and I'm running up on this ball, a slow roller, and I grab it and I throw it kind of like across my body to first base, and I just felt my arm just keep going, and then drop,
Oh,
and I
like
just,
Stretch Armstrong, the arm
yeah,
just kept going. Oh,
yeah, I felt the pinch in my shoulder, and I said, "Uh-oh." I don't remember what the situation was at the time in terms of who was able to come in for me or not. I remember I continued to play, I think,
of course you
but
did.
I whenever when
What
I
athlete wouldn't,
when
right?
I
Why would you
I
get
don't
out?
I do, there was I don't like, again, I don't remember
Because
the
the
whole
trainer says
situation.
get out.
This was, listen, this was like a million years ago, okay? I do remember coming off the field, and then they had me, put the ice on the shoulder, of course, like they checked it out, and then ice on the shoulder, sit down, took my cleats off, and I'm sitting there, and then the shortstop that went in for me ended up getting hit in the noggin, and so she had to come out, and so they look at me, and I'm
And did you
going,
go back in?
okay, I did. I was like, yes, I'm going back in. So
Of
hop back
course.
in, and then for the rest of the game, like I would hit, and then I would just hang on to my jersey as I ran, or
Oh,
I would
Krystal.
was it underhand the ball? You figure out a way, and then afterwards, then I was able to get seen and all that stuff and taken care of. That was,
So can I tell
interesting.
you something that goes along with it that's kind of funny? I find it
Sure.
funny now. At the time, I was so stressed. So we had a shortstop who had a significant tear, and we had
Hmm.
nobody else that could field.
Oh,
Absolutely. Yeah. You're sitting there as a coach, as a player going, oh my God.
yeah.
We had
Hmm.
nobody at the spot. So all they had to do was hit shortstop, and it was like just a big opening.
A hit.
So
Yep.
the coach finally looked at me and said, look, Eli, he's got to play. I'm like, he can't throw. And he looked at
Yeah.
me, but he can field.
That's a coach.
Essentially.
And I looked at him, I'm like, well, yeah, he can. He's like, he doesn't need to throw. That just stops the double or the triple. And I'm looking at
Yeah.
him going,
Oh,
okay. And
yeah.
this was earlier in my career, so I wasn't as headstrong. And I went, well,
Right.
okay. And he
I
didn't
really
throw.
doubt that.
Yeah,
I
and
really doubt that you weren't as headstrong.
he would stop it, scoop
Hmm.
it, and
Yep.
underhand it to the
Flip
second
it.
baseman at second base.
Yep. That's
And
it. Yeah.
but that's the mindset of the athlete. You just want to play no matter what. What did it take for you to get back as far? I know you said surgery earlier, but what was the time frame? What did you go through?
Well, we finished the season, ended up finishing the season, and I had surgery immediately after. I would say within a few days after our last game. Had surgery, did some rehab over the summer with some awesome trainers. They brought out this in at that time new machine. I say quote unquote new machine, right? It was this laser machine. I don't know, infrared, I guess.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I remember those.
you know, yeah. So they're doing. I'm doing rehab, and they're doing that, and then the icing and the different exercises and whatever else. They got me to the point. So I ended up not playing over the fall in the fall games, but then I was able to rehab all the way up until springtime. So then here comes our Palm Spring tournament. I think in February it was out here in Cathedral City. This huge tournament,
Right,
massive
right.
tournament. Loved playing in it. I remember. I want to say we only had like 12 girls on the team, 11, 12 girls, and a couple of them were pitchers. So we we ended up having they had a shortstop there, and then they had me go over to second base. So I came in. I wasn't supposed to be throwing.
Of course not.
For good reason.
But the trainer wasn't
Um,
there, so
well, no, the trainer was there, but you got limited, players
uh
on your team, and you're in this big old tournament. Anywho, playing second base, and the balls that I'm getting, I'm able to kind of flip with my glove to first base. And it's a play that happens where we have runner on first base, ball gets hit to me, and then just,
Instinct kicks in.
instinct kicks in. I turn and I chuck it overhand to the shortstop to turn the double play. And I remember regretting that so much. Just going, oh, that was a bad idea.
Yeah,
I
they
sat
told
there
me I
for a
shouldn't
minute,
do
like,
that. And
oh,
yeah. How long did you regret that? How many days?
Oh, a few weeks, I would imagine it was.
Oh, okay then.
But you keep doing what you got to do.
That's the key. When you're an athlete and you love what you do, Bianca's probably nodding right now. You just do it.
Yep, you have to. I mean, that's
Just it.
for me. It was why else you there? Like, go play.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and that's why it's important to have those coaches like yourselves that care to make sure they know when to grab the reins and go, all right, no, that's enough. Come on back. And then the athletic trainers to go, oh, okay, come on over. Let's take care of that now. I'm sure after that flip to second base, you were frequent flyer in the training room at that point.
Yeah, I was. I made sure to see them in the morning, and then in the afternoon during practice I'd go do my rehab. I did rehab in the morning and rehab in the afternoon for a while, long while.
The things athletes do to stay in the game, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Gotta love it. Bianca, outside of the injuries and outside of the really neat experiences that you've had traveling and representing the US, what are some of the most rewarding experiences you've had as either a player or a coach?
Well, as a player, it was, for me, the thing that sticks out was helping our university and our team reach a level which the university as a softball team hadn't yet, which is get to a regional final. So that was really cool for me, and it stuck out because, again, the women I was playing with, the coaches we had, everybody involved, it was just top notch, and we were playing at such a high level together, and we experienced things we hadn't done as a program yet. So for me, that was really cool that we could all do it together. After college, I think the neatest thing for me was meeting my wife and then the family we created. So, I mean, we met through softball.
Congratulations.
Very
Thank
cool.
you.
Absolutely.
We met through softball. So, I mean, softball has literally given me my family. I come from a softball baseball family, but we were able to create one through softball as well.
And what about you, Krystal? What are some of the most rewarding experiences that you had as either coach or player, or even both?
As a player, is meeting my best friend of 23 years now, Lauren McCoy, now Lauren Donaldson, mother of 3. She was a head coach at Howard University for the longest time.
Oh, very cool.
As a player, she stood out for Bethune-Cookman, All-American pitcher there. She battled the likes of Kat Osterman, who is a huge name in softball at the time. Went toe-to-toe with her in tournament play, regionals. Super proud to have met her. And then as a coach, well, hello. I mean, I got to see my sister do things with her teammates that, like she said, haven't been done before. And as an alumni, it was such a sweet thing to see, and see how that team came together and completely, I would say, obliterate some of those records that year. Just seeing the growth of the team, of the girls that I've coached over the years, obviously, and particularly my sister. Those things I think stood out the most for me.
Those are great memories you'll always have and always treasure, both of you, right?
Absolutely.
Now,
Bianca, we did mess up a little bit. You didn't give a little shout out to your significant. So if you want to mention a name real quick before you get in trouble.
Man, no, I won't get in trouble. She doesn't like the spotlight, so she'd be all right with it. But yes, I am married to Bridget Delpani. She played for the University of Arizona. She was an
Ooh,
All-American there.
U of A.
And oh yeah, she was a
Wow.
Wildcat. And same as my little brother. So, and I believe they're the same year too.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, I
Yeah, but-
remember, didn't the Wildcats make the national championship once or twice?
They
They
did,
did.
and they have a few of those national championships.
Yeah, I
We don't like
remember that.
to talk about it because then we get competitive and then we start going
Ah.
toe to toe for
Yeah,
things.
well,
But, you know-
let's not do that in the house. No, that'd
Going
be
back
bad.
to Sybil,
Oh,
there were
yeah.
a lot of Sybil girls on that U of A team.
Yes,
that,
there were.
Krista Gomez, whole bunch of them.
Yep.
I
No
remember
kidding.
them. They played with
Yep.
Angela. Yeah,
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
yeah.
That's awesome. I didn't
Whole
know that.
bunch of-
That's cool.
There were Sybil girls on the U of A team.
Yep, I remember
That's
that.
awesome.
That's cool.
Small world, huh? Small world. Bianca, we'll stick with you for right now. If you could look at a young girl right now thinking about playing softball, thinking about developing into a Division 1, 2, 3, whatever athlete, if you could give that young lady a little bit of advice, what would you say?
I would tell her to be herself first and foremost, and to be true to herself no matter what. Second, you are going to have to work incredibly hard, and it's going to be tough, and sometimes it's going to suck. But whatever you want to do with it and how far you want to go, you can reach it. It does come at a price, which is you sacrifice a lot of family events. You sacrifice going to the movies with your friends or all that stuff, the social stuff you do. You sacrifice even sometimes your own prom and some of your own milestones. So just remember, it does take a sacrifice depending on how and where you want to go. You know, it comes at a cost, but the cost is worth it if that's what your goal is. It's completely
Totally.
worth it, because at the end of the day, this is something my dad used to say to me all the time growing up. You're the one that's going to be picking up the pieces to your puzzle. So just remember that, and remember it's your life and it's your career, and however you want it to pan out, work as hard as you possibly can to get
Mhm.
those things, to obtain them, and then to build the work ethic that it takes to withstand it.
Ooh, good answer.
Fantastic. Oh, well, we'll see
That's
how
what I was
good.
gonna say.
Yeah, sounds good. So on that note, Krystal, how about you? What kind of advice would you give a
Jeez, I
young
don't
lady
know.
looking at going into the softball realm or college and just looking in that direction?
I don't know how I'm gonna top that answer, but I'll give them my best shot. Just staying consistent and making sure that you have a support system of some sort. Asking a lot of questions, trying new things. You never know where it's gonna take you, and that commitment is a huge commitment, especially if you're trying to get to the most elite level, whatever that might be for you. If it's Division 1, 2, 3, whatever, if it's professionally, if it's the Olympic team, whatever that might look like for you, just stay with it. It hurts, it sucks sometimes, but all those, what they say, the blood, sweat, and tears, it's
Oh, yes.
like she said, like Bianca said, it's completely worth it. You get to meet some incredible people along the way. You get to see so many new places and try new things. I met my husband in college, all the way
And
out
his
in
name
New York.
is?
His name is Albert Forbes. That's, the love of my life.
Although notice you mentioned your best friend before but that's a different story.
Well, see, I met her way before I met him. So that's, it's a chronological order.
Okay, fair enough. Bianca's laughing over there.
It'll take you to some incredible places in your life. And I would say, do it, go for it. Don't let
Awesome.
anybody tell you otherwise.
This was a really fun episode to do, and I wanted to thank you guys for both joining us today and just giving us your input on softball at the high school
Thank
and
you for
college
having us.
level.
Yes,
So,
thank you so much for
thank
having us.
Thank you so much, Krystal and Bianca. Gabe, thanks for co-hosting, and thanks for joining us today on Wrap It Up Sports Medicine and More. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone. Have a great evening.
All right,
You too.
bye.
Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Want to make sure you hear every episode? Remember to like, follow, and subscribe to our podcast. Don't forget to share our podcast with your colleagues, family, and friends. Your support will help more people find and enjoy our content. Wrap It Up Sports Medicine and More is directed by Eli Hallak. It is produced by Gabriel Hallak. Our theme music is by Coma Studios via Pixabay. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are solely those of the contributors. Want to know more about us? Visit us at wrapituppodcast.com. That's with one P, wrapituppodcast.com. Wrap It Up Sports Medicine and More is a production of Hallak Consulting, LLC.